let's talk about it.
Hello and welcome back to Thicc Radio, the award-winning podcast where we talk about gaming, feedism, and everything plus size. I'm James.
And I'm Tim, so let's get into it. Today we are happy to welcome to the show Marquis the Honey Bear.
Hi! I just
Hello, my
rolled
love.
in on roller skates. There's a cape behind me.
Absolutely. You haven't seen it here, folks, but actually we were a little worried Marquis wasn't going to make it on time. All of a sudden, the walls shook, and then he just appeared before us, glowing, bright yellow,
Busting through
stunning,
the wall
gorgeous.
like the Kool-Aid man.
Thank you. That's where the entire production budget went. From now
Yes.
on, don't expect
Yeah.
too much. I'm sorry.
You know, I really appreciate you bringing that up. It will be low budget the rest of the season. We did spend all of our money on the special effects, which, as we just realized, this is an audio podcast, y'all aren't even going to get to see. So really sorry about that.
Yes, you get the concepts of a visual. I had fun. Thank you for splurging on me. I had a good time.
Well, darling, you are absolutely worth every penny spent. Because look, for anyone who is not familiar with you, you are one of those people who I find on my For You recommended, as someone who is invested in the thickums, most of the time, Instagram tries to sell me Ozempic and fucking skinny bitches with an eating disorder, and I've had it. It's stupid.
We're over it.
But when I am blessed and graced with recommended content, yours is the one that often comes up on my feed, and it is a joy to have you with us on the podcast today. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you. That genuinely makes me really happy to hear. Lately it's been kind of weird. I've been meeting more people who are like, "Oh yeah, you were just on my For You page organically," and I never know how to sort of process that. of just "Oh, the algorithm likes me sometimes." That feels foreign to me. And so yeah, I'm always happy to be amongst my thick brethren, as they say in the Bible.
Don't worry, the algorithm isn't kind to us either.
She's a brutal mistress who usually loves twinks. And so
Yeah.
I'm very happy. My algorithm right now is doing this thing where it's advertising compression sort of tees and shirts, but every
Oh my
video
God.
starts with some big guy with gigantic chest who's bouncing, and he's "Oh my God, I hate my man boobs so much, I hate him so much." And then they put on the shirt and it's we know what the ad was for. You didn't have to do all that.
That
I
happened to
I
me actually. I have a TikTok, and one of the ones that I did from a cruise that I went on, which was a gainer cruise. It was a bunch of gainers together, and I was trying to be cheeky, and so I upload this thing, and I happened to use the track of it's cuffing season, so I used
Mhm.
that, which was already trending. So it ended up getting a lot more views, significantly more than anything else I'd ever put out there. And then somebody took it and they stitched it into one of those commercials for the shirt for that.
Oh wow.
And so I took it and I addressed it on my Instagram. I was like, I don't support this. I didn't give my consent for this. I don't wear Spanx. I think they're stupid.
Oh my God. When I was a little kid going to church, I was a really big kid wearing these tight suits. I was 10 years old, being in my mom's old girdle. It was the dark times. Oh my God. I would have marks on my stomach and everything from just trying to fit into those girdles. Oh my God. So yeah, whenever I see those compression wear ads, I'm "Oh God, the trauma." But also, it's nice to see the jiggle physics of the hot bears before that. So
For me, it
You
was
know,
the irony of knowing what that original video was, that the TikTok that I actually put out there. I was trying to pop a button off of one of my shirts that I had taken with me because I knew that it was small. And that's kind of a thing with gainers, is especially after we've eaten a
yeah.
lot, if we can do something like that.
Yeah,
And
this
I
is this
failed. I failed at it actually. It didn't end up happening, but that's what ended up being the impetus for this stupid commercial.
Yeah, this is like the opposite of compression wear. Like this is antithetical to the whole commercial that they're trying to like stick on you. Yeah, that's wild.
Well, listen, I think this is a great launching pad. So, look, for anyone who, for whatever reason, has not come across you and your fantastic content in the past, describe yourself to the people. What do people need to know about you, Marquis?
Oh God. Big, black, gay. I am obsessed with the color yellow. I think in my head and my heart, I'm a supermodel. Like that's the delusion that I sort of live in. And so yeah, I mean, I live in Los Angeles. I do stand-up comedy all around LA. I make TikToks, Instagrams that sort of combine comedy with fashion. And yeah, I'm a previous Mr. Bear LA winner. And that's been a big part of my LA journey. And I act, I write, I do a lot. And I think like the central thesis around it all is my, bigness, my blackness, my gayness, because I think my fashion comes from there, my comedy comes from there. It's very, not geocentric, heliocentric. I'm not a STEM major. It all revolves around basically those parts of my identity. And so, yeah, I like to call myself in my head, I'm like Carrie Bradshaw if she was black and fat and gay.
Well, since you sit at the intersection of all of these different communities, what's your perception of gaining and fetism? Had you heard anything about it before we
Oh, of
reached out to
course.
you? And like, is there anything about it that piques your curiosity?
Yeah, like definitely heard of it. Like it's hard to not be a bear and like not sort of like run into the intersection of like gaining, feeding, all that. I love my gainer feeder brethren. I personally like to say that I'm not a gainer, I'm just fat. But like I just like I don't know. I'm somebody where I've been big and small and mostly big my whole life. And when I do get bigger, it's pretty organic and I don't hate it. Like, I'll get bigger just by not doing anything in particular. And I'm like, oh, I like it. Like, it looks good on me. And like, I think for me, yeah, not particularly a gainer, but whenever I'm encountered with like somebody online who is like, hey, hottie, can I like buy you dinner? Have you eaten yet? I'm never gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no. And I'll preface like I'm not particularly a gainer, but I'm like I was raised right. If you're gonna buy me dinner, I'll send you a belly pic afterwards. Like that's polite. So yeah, I'm a big guy, I'm a bear. I like have nothing but love for the gainers and feeders in my life, and I feel like I'm surrounded by many of them just by being very entrenched in like the bear community, the chub community, like at all. Like I feel like there's such a prominent, distinct community of size in Los Angeles. Like I feel like there's so many events, and yeah, I like, feel like I have a really vibrant community out here, and especially there being Mr. Burley 2023, like it's just such my world. So. Yeah, I mean, I've encountered gainers speeders every which way to Sunday, and I love it.
That's fabulous. One of the reasons we like to ask is because ultimately, I think within the community itself, sometimes there's a lot of anxiety around the world at large feeling a certain type of way about it all.
Mhm.
Mostly, of course, stemming from the internalized fat phobia of like, why would you want to be fat? Ugh, gross. But, it's glorious, I think, especially today's day. I certainly think I've seen this in bear spaces here in the UK, certainly reflecting of what a lot you've said about bear spaces in LA. Like, there's a lot more positivity and goodwill, I suppose, towards the interconnectedness of it all. And like you say, like if people are here for it, like what's people gonna be mad about?
Absolutely. Like I feel like I don't know, in Seattle, I originally from Seattle and I moved to Los Angeles about 4 years ago. I mean, I back then I was fluctuating between like big and small, and I just had kind of like I think more of a like a disdain of like the bear community out there because it just felt so kind of cold and like in general there's that phenomenon of like the Seattle freeze and take it for what you will. I think in general I just didn't really feel super welcoming there, and so I didn't really feel like I wanted to lean into being bigger. or lean into being part of the bear community or just any sort of, you know, embrace of being of size and admired for that. And then I moved to Los Angeles because honestly, like I was like pretty twinky right before the pandemic, and then pandemic happened, and then I got big again, and I was like, oh, this time I think I kind of want it to stick. Like I really dig it. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and it was like, oh, there are so many people here who admire all of this. Like there's so many people who see my fupa and they're like, I want to get under that. And so like, yeah, I mean, ever since I moved here, it's been really great. And just yeah, I think there's a lot of people who just love us, like love big folk, and it's been really beautiful. And I just yeah, it's a good time.
Speaking of LA, the way that LA was presented to like my generation, the elder millennial gaze, it's like, LA and West Hollywood was always about, oh, you have to be a Twinkie, you have to be beautiful, you have to be successful, you have to be all these things to even be, they said to even be acknowledged in public, and I was like, and I'm wondering if things, because they also said that about Miami Beach, so I'm wondering if in both places maybe things are starting to change as the culture is changing, because I know Gen Z is way more body positive. So like I'd be happy to hear that LA is changing in terms of like what it considers beautiful, because it used to be heroin chic. When I was a young lad,
Yes.
heroin chic was the look. So
Yeah, and like, obviously there is the WeHo of it all, and there's still that sort of like desirability of like, the super muscle jock or like the twink. In my sort of like bear civil rights activist era, I would love for like the bears and the chubs, everything to just like invade WeHo and just like take over that space. Because yeah, I mean, I think like across the board, it's not like 1,000% every single space welcoming to big boys, but I do think LA has a lot of spaces that are really for us. And I mean, yeah, I think that it's not perfect, but I feel very desired here in a way that it didn't in Seattle. Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like every time I go on a podcast, I like rip into Seattle, but I really do love where I'm from. I promise.
Well, you know what? Let's take this opportunity, right, to take it all the way back. Let's talk about the early years, right? Like childhood, growing up. What was your relationship like with your body? And we say this, of course, you reference things like you were a church kid, you had to wear a certain style of dress, which was quite restrictive in some regards. But talk more, like share with us, like what was that experience
Yes.
like for you growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Federal Way, Washington, which is like right outside of Seattle. And yeah, again, like I was like fluctuating between being a big kid, small kid. And yeah, when I was like a big kid, it was around like 10 or 11. I was Joe's Witness. And Joe's Witnesses in general, like, I don't know, they're not really allowed to have like friends who are not Joe's Witnesses and everything. So in school, didn't really feel like I belonged. And I was only able to really be friends with people in school. Like, I couldn't have friends outside of that. So I felt like the only way to make people remember me was to be funny and to be fashionable. And I feel like that's sort of stuck with me. It's like, for better or for worse. But when I was like 10 or 11, I was really big and I was walking on like a limp for a full year. And then one day I'm like watching gay boys kissing on, the family computer. It's nighttime. I'm looking at the men of Jersey Shore shirtless because I have no taste. I just want to see shirtless men. And then my mom, who works at night, she comes through the door and I'm like, oh shit, she's not supposed to be here. She comes home early. I run up the stairs of our, little townhouse. I turn too sharply and I dislocate my hip. My hip at like 11 years old pops out, fully pops out. And so like we have to go to the emergency room. My mom's a nurse. She just left the hospital. We have to go back to the hospital. She just got into the door. Go to the hospital. The doctor tells me, so you just like dislocated this hip. This hip popped out, but both of your hips have been dislocated for a full year. And like I'm like 10, 11 years old. And so I was in like a wheelchair for like 6 weeks. They put screws in each hip. I still have the screws, they're fused with my bone at this point. And so that was sort of like the impetus for me to like lose the weight. And so I went through that experience and then I like lost the weight, right? And it was good. It was fine. Like I was really skinny and it was like all good until all these church people kept coming up to me and then I was never really insecure about my body. But then all these people would come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, thank God you lost all that weight. I was so worried for you. Oh my God, you look so much better now. Like, oh my God." And they're like, and then, we'll be at like a barbecue or something like that. And I'll pick up like a soda or like some barbecue. And then they're like, "Oh, make sure you're careful. We don't want you going backwards." And it's like, bitch, I'm a kid. Let me have the fucking Fanta. And so that's when I got insecure to the point where like I developed an eating disorder. Like I stopped eating and I was like bulimic and I was like really so insecure because now I'm skinny. Now people have like voiced how much they like hated me being like a big kid. And so yeah, it was just I've always had a really complicated like relationship with my body, but it's always the most complicated when I'm like thin because then I'm just like not confident. And then every time after that I've gotten like bigger, I felt more secure because it's like, no, this is just my body. And like it's not inherently unhealthy to be bigger because the most unhealthiest I was when I was like skinny and had ED. And so yeah, it was quite a journey growing up with my body for sure.
We talk about that a lot because that's a common experience among gainers is to gain confidence along with gaining weight. Like a lot of us
Yeah.
that start off skinny, we had been skinny most of our lives. Skinny children, skinny teenagers often got called like, like I know that like the names that they call skinny kids is not nearly as damaging as the ones they call fat kids, but like, bean pole, bean sprout, slim, twig, what are you, a buck 15, things like that.
Yes.
And you feel a sense of disempowerment from it because it's like
Mm.
people are telling you you're small, you're weak, you're insignificant, you couldn't do things physically that other people can do. You might as well just be gangly and tall and alone and whatnot. So then when the weight comes on, like you start to occupy more space,
Yes.
more you feel the sense of power in that like people can no longer ignore you and they can't immediately discount you and they can't then immediately say, oh well, okay, well you're a big guy, you can help us lift this box, or some shit like that. It's
Mm.
the weird social dynamics that come in from being thin or overweight or muscular, like just these societal expectations that come from looking at somebody's body and immediately determining their entire value is insane.
It's nuts.
Mm.
And like, yeah, I get asked a lot on interviews and stuff like that of like, what does it mean to be a bear to you? And I like to describe it as we're people of fortitude. Like there's a strength to us that's physical, but also like it's very mental. Like I think that there's a lot of fortitude that comes with being like a bigger person. You take up more space because you have to. And
Mm.
I think if you embrace that, there's so much confidence that can be like channeled through that experience. And yeah, if you're like trapped underneath a car, are you gonna ask like the twink over there to help like lift the car off you, or are you gonna help ask like the bear who's right over there to lift up the car? Like we're people of fortitude, and so yeah, the most insecure I've ever been has been when I've been smaller, and that's not to say that like
Mm.
I rail against like skinny people, like they're not my enemies, but it's just like the times I felt most insecure has been when I've been a smaller guy, for sure.
100%. Coming from a church background myself, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of modern fat phobia is rooted in like a firm Christian moralism, right? The idea that
Mm.
it is morally inappropriate to be a fat person, that you can judge someone's worth, which is really at the core of a lot of the judgments. Like, it really doesn't matter how much evidence comes out that shows people who try to lose weight oftentimes fail because of genetics, because of extenuating circumstances. And then, of course, every fucking asshole out there will be like, yeah, but you could still try hard, because we ultimately sum it up as this moral failing. And I like what you
Mhm.
said that, to describe a bear is to describe someone of fortitude, because I certainly do think that, you know, for people of varying intersections, bears in particular, you find that you come to the queer community looking for community. And you often don't find it because they say, yeah, we're all freaks in our cast, but you are someone else. And then you've got to go and try by all over again. So I like that idea of fortitude, right? And I feel like that is something that really shines with you, with your content, with what you do. You really read. And as we've expressed, I see you primarily through content. You know, this conversation is lovely. We're new interpersonal contacts, right? And yet your brand recognizes very clearly a person who brings out a shine, a confidence, and a brilliance that I love that I get to see on my For You page. Because while I love my gainers, I love that there are just any other number of plus size bitches out here being like, I'm actually genuinely pretty cool with being big and being gorgeous. And like, that's not a discussion. That's
Yeah,
just, that's the point we start from.
it's just
I
a
am,
fact. Yeah.
it's a fact. You know, I love it. I love it. Um,
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Like I once I won Mr. Bear LA, I sort of rebranded to Marquis the Honey Bear just because I felt like I wanted to like lead with that, like this idea of honey and yellow and joy and being a bear, and I wanted that like really in your face. And it's been great. It's been great like doing these videos, these comedy videos. I think the comments that always get me the most is people being like, you are so confident in your body, like you're so confident, and that's what I want as like a bigger guy. Like you, yeah, that idea of like it's just a fact that like you love yourself and your body. And so yeah, thank you so much.
of course. And listen, there are so many little bits we've touched on already that I'm just like, we're gonna get to it all, I promise. So let's go in with Mr. Let's go in with Mr. Bear LA, and that was 2023, right?
It's 2023. So much has
2023.
happened
I
since
mean,
then.
tell us about that because I feel like, and again, thinking about our gainers in the community, sometimes there's a lot of self consciousness about putting oneself out there in plus size spaces. Like, what inspired you to want to do a pageant? And
Mhm.
do we would we say pageant? Because I feel like pageant is
I call it a
applicable.
pageant.
A pageant. Like, what inspired you to do the pageant? What was that experience like, and what has come from that?
Yeah, it's like a title competition, and some people can get kind of up in arms. Mostly, I would say if it's like a leather competition, they don't want you to call it a pageant. But this is a bear competition, so I call it a pageant. There was runway categories, interview questions, all that fantasy portion. But I wanted to run because I wanted something that felt like a responsibility in the city because I had been in LA for a year and I was really loving it. And I don't know, I was just like I felt like I was not quite ready to go full force into what I moved to LA for, which was acting, producing, writing. And so I was like, oh, this is like a cool detour. And I felt I was like in a good position where I was kind of like, if I win, great. If I don't, I get to show great looks on stage. And I was like, that's a win for me. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great time. I like I I took it very seriously, as did everybody else who was competing. I walked in and I had like a suitcase, like not even like a carry-on, like a suitcase worth of looks and everything. And I remember when I walked in with that suitcase, everybody just had like their backpacks and they were just like, "Is that everything that you're bringing for the competition?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm doing too much." I had so many outfits and changes and props and all that. Yeah, it was just really fun. And I think also I was just in a place where I was really just feeling proud to be a bear. And I'd gone from a place of having kind of, again, sort of disdain for bears in Seattle because I kind of felt like there was such a gatekeeping aspect to that community. But I moved to LA and I was just like, wow, I really love being a bear. And so I kind of wanted to commemorate it by doing the pageant. And then I did, and I won, and it was just a great experience. And I think also when it comes to being a bear, I'm just very defensive of Black people's right to be bears because oftentimes, as Black people, in the bear community, it can be discounted that we are bears just based on race, whether people consciously or subconsciously want to say that. And so I think it was also that of like proving that I could do it. So yeah, I think it was just like an amalgamation of just a lot of things I wanted to prove and commemorate. And it was fucking fun. It was so good. And I still have like so much yellow in my closet as a result of that. So yes.
As someone who's also been through the pageant system, I felt scalped by the whole leather contests. Don't like to be called pageants because they do. They get so pissy when you
They
call it a
get
pageant.
really up in arms about it.
And
Like it's a
Tim,
Like,
leather contest. I'm like,
well,
that's a
well,
freaking
well,
pageant,
Tim, you
dude.
are a leather man yourself, and because
Yes.
we talked about this recently. Do you consider yourself old guard?
I was trained in the old guard way, meaning that like so old guard versus new guard, it's complicated and nuanced, but essentially it boils down to like in old guard, you can't declare yourself anything. You have to earn everything that you get, and you have to be recognized by your peers. Whereas new guard is you declare yourself anything you want to be, who can argue with it, and you just run with it. And I think both systems have their strengths, but I was trained in old guard, and I went through a pageant in like the old guard system. And actually, I've been through it twice. First time lost a regional title. Second time I won a state title, which then got dissolved the very next year. So I am the one and only.
that's cunty.
She was so
I
good.
love
They were
it.
like, we couldn't get anyone else to take her place because you
Yeah,
know what?
exclusive title.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Love.
I am literally the one and only of that title.
But
yes,
yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's also why I didn't really want to run for a leather competition. Also, leather is expensive. Now I'm asked a lot of leather because of, being a bear title holder. But I mean, I wanted to do it, but I didn't want it to feel overly serious. And the bear competition felt like that. And so when I got to like host mine for my, successor, I like leaned in hard to like people want to see looks and camp and fantasy portions. And so when I hosted like my step down competition, the theme was Studio 50 Fur. And it was like just disco-y and campy, and it was so fun. It was just like I just think that people want to see the pageantry from these competitions. Like people want to see that so badly. So yeah, yeah.
love it. And listen, since we're talking about things like Mr. Bear LA, let's talk about some more of your decorations, my love, because you are
Oh
a
no.
Northwest Emmy Award nominated producer for Molly of Denali from back in 2019,
Yes.
Southland Honors Award winner for the Cultural Arts Award of the same year, 2023, for your contribution to the LA queer community through your charitable club event, Black Bear Joy, at the Eagle LA, which was also awarded by the LA Leather Coalition. Thinking about how things have progressed for you, do you feel like there is a trajectory that you're now on through this type of work? Or do you feel like maybe like this is fun, but maybe coming back to like the film and acting of it all? Like how does all that sit with you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely I feel like it's all sort of fed into each other of like I moved out here to do acting and producing and writing. And then I moved out here in 2021, and it was still kind of pandemic-y times. And the industry has just been weird ever since 2020. Because, like, I moved here, and then it was still sort of like COVID filming, which is weird. And then we went right into like the strike, and we're still feeling the huge ramifications from all of that. And so and also I just like when I moved here, I wanted to be like really guns blazing, like just get to work. But then I got here, tried to just immediately go into acting and writing and all that. And I burned out so quickly because I was like, whoa, I just moved out here. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. I don't love this place yet. And so it was really good for me to do Mr. Bear LA because it gave me some time to just like, I don't know, do something that was not work, 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 grind, grind, grind in the way that I thought I was gonna sort of be doing professionally. And then by the time that my title year was up, I was like, you know what? I feel so good. I've gotten to do everything I wanted to do. It's been much more than I thought it would, be. And also, I mean, being Mr. Bear LA allowed me to get signed to like a manager because I was able to, get the attention of a manager through, being like a like judge host a couple times at like Fat Slut, like Meatballs event. And it's gave me a lot of like visibility that literally allowed me to get signed to do acting. And so by the time my title year ended, I was getting encouraged to like run for more titles. And I think I'm officially retired. I did my thing I wanted to do. And yeah, now it's just been focusing on acting and stand up, and it's been great. And so Yeah, I love the trajectory I'm on, and I truly don't think it would be possible if I didn't become Mr. Barrelay. And so, yeah, I think it's all very synergistic. Yeah, I know the word synergistic. I bet y'all didn't think I did, but I do.
I wouldn't doubt that because after all, you did study creative writing at the University of Washington. So
Y'all know so much
we did
about
our
me.
we did our research, honey. When we really want to have a chat with someone, especially someone who has been so public and present, in the community, of course we're going to do our research.
Well,
So
thank you. Thank
whilst
you.
whilst you were studying creative writing, did your college experience affirm or challenge any of your creative pursuits?
I think so. Like when I joined University of Washington, I say joined University of Washington like it's a band. When I got to University of Washington, I joined a gay fraternity. We didn't have a house, so it was basically just like a club. But it was coming off the heels of high school when I just really didn't have gay friends. Like there just weren't really that many gays. And so I had a lot of straight friends who accepted me being gay, but I was very much like, oh, I don't need gay friends. If I had gay friends, we talk about being gay all the time, and who wants that? And so I think when I got to UW, I was like, I sort of had these stories in mind that I wanted to do, and they didn't really revolve around being queer. And then I got queer community, and I was like, everything is queer. Everything is queer. I only want to write about queer things, and I want to be very queer forward. And so, like, the first play that I ever wrote was at UW, and it was called Ricochet, and it was all about sort of like this weekend in this guy's life in 1985 where he spends Friday and Saturday being this sort of big ol' gay slut, and then Sunday he is this closeted guy who is super religious and has a religious mom, and how that sort of world, they all sort of collide in on each other, and how he's like a different person every one of those days. And it felt really affirming to like sort of write from the experience of like really challenging the dichotomy of like queerness and religiosity. And I don't think that would have been possible without sort of changing my sort of views through having more queer community in college. So, yeah, I mean, college just made me gayer, basically. It's like the
Well, and I
short of
tip
it.
my hat to you, sir, because I don't know how people write plays. I took a creative writing course in high school, and they required us to write one, and I sucked at it. So, but that's you say that you wrote Ricochet as your first one, but then you've got two other plays that you've actually
Yes, I do.
written. One that really caught my attention was Ornithromancy, the practice of reading omens through the flight patterns of birds, which is
Hmm.
such a ridiculous title that it begs it begs explanation.
Yes. So, yeah, and that is a play that has since become the short film that is still in development. Yeah, Ornithomancy, it was such a interesting play because it was 10 minutes long. It was a 10-minute long play. I was doing a 24-hour play festival. So we were like in this small theater that was a part of the strip mall. And the goal was like we are going to scratch to stage, make a play. So I got tasked with writing a play, and I was given like a challenge. Everybody got their own challenge for writing, and mine was to write a one-person show. And so I had the Iliad on my mind at the time. And in the Iliad, they use the practice of ornithomancy. So, like, if a bird flew left, it meant that they would probably lose the war. If it flew right, the opposite. And that was on my mind. I don't remember any other thing from that book. That's all I remember from the Iliad. And so I wanted to like apply it to everyday life and situations like a job interview. Should I break up with my boyfriend? Yes or no? Should I call my mom? Yes or no? And so I wrote that. It was like a one-person show. I was just the writer at the time. My friend Nalaisha was the actress, and it was great. And it was only 10 minutes long, and it was so quick. Nobody that I even knew got to even see the play, basically. But it stuck with me. I wrote it so quickly. I wrote it in like 2 hours overnight at like 3 a.m. in a strip mall. And just the years would go by, and I was like, why is this still like my favorite thing that I've ever written? And it came out so quickly. And I think it was because since it came about so fast, there was no time to be like overly precious about it. It was just what was really on my heart at the time. And so, yeah, I developed into a short film. We shot it and everything. It's coming out next year. It has Carl Clemens Hopkins from Hacks in it, Devere Rogers, Michael Benjamin. Yeah, we crowdfunded for it, raised a lot of, money. A lot of people from the community really pitched in, like over 400 backers, and now we're still in post. And yeah, Ornithomancy, it's a fun time. And now I do genuinely, like, when I'm nervous about something, I'll look into the sky to see what the birds think. And I'll, get some guidance from there.
I love that because James is the pragmatist and I'm the hippie. Like I'm the witchy pagany one, and he's the very pragmatic, like, logical, let's think this through. So
Hmm.
Yeah, but you know what, baby? That's also religious trauma on my end, right? Like, I went through the whole born again Christian, Pentecostal, happy clappy, very much was my zhuzh for a time. Did Bible college, ma'am. Biblical hermeneutics and exegesis, you better believe I went through and I debated whether or not I should learn ancient Greek or ancient Hebrew to read the scrolls, but
Oh my
instead
God.
I sucked dick, and then, that kind of came to a close for me. But that's something I'd love to tap into, actually, thinking about it, because as you've expressed, you came from a church background. Jehovah's Witness, I think you said, is that right?
Unfortunately.
Well,
Yes.
listen, I want to ask about this because you've said before, right, that like comedy for you in particular, you love to explore all of your intersections, blackness, queerness, body positivity, and the religious experience. I'd love to know from you, like, how does performance help you to process religious trauma, and how do audiences react to your
Oh,
intersections?
that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the main way that it manifests is that I am obsessed with death because Jehovah's Witnesses, it's like an Armageddon cult, basically. Like we're constantly just thinking about Armageddon and how if you want to be saved, you have to like follow Jehovah and all that. So I was a kid always worried about if I was like good enough, like morally, to like survive Armageddon. Like as a kid, I was always thinking about, if I were to steal this Lego right now, would I die in like a hellfire on Earth in a few years? Like, and so I noticed that when I was writing anything, jokes, plays, film, I just could not stop thinking about death in some capacity. And so that comes up a lot in my stand up. And also like I just talk about a lot how, being at like an ex Joe's Witness makes you funny. Like cause you kind of have to be. Like being black, gay, fat, and an ex Joe's Witness, that's like having an EGOT in oppression. Like that is you have the full nine. And so I like to consider myself a marginalization EGOT winner in that sense. And
I
yeah.
used to say that about myself because I'm mixed race, Wiccan or neo-pagan.
Hmm.
Like I was like I hit all these different intersections, like I should be my own minority.
Yeah, at some point the punch card gets full and you're like, well, I kind of got everything. And I think to your question of how people react to it, I think they like it a lot. I think in my stand-up, I talk so much about that experience of like being fat, black, gay, ex-religious. And I think people just relate to it. I think people relate to like how trauma tends to like become comedy if you let it. And like I think that like even if people are not of these experiences, I think when I talk candidly about them and like make light of them, people are able to connect. So yeah, I mean that's why I love stand-up comedy. It's kind of like I mean I just love to yap. I love to yap into a microphone and force people to listen. But I mean I'm able to sort of process things and it's nice. But warning, stand-up is not therapy. Go to therapy, please. Everyone, don't do stand-up as therapy. That's
Yeah,
how you
otherwise you're just
get.
Roseanne Barr.
Yes, yes. Please do not use stand-up as therapy.
I really appreciate both you and Tim sharing your intersections. I feel like, unfortunately, as a white gay guy, I unfortunately represent probably like the Rob Anderson meme, where it's like white
Oh my
gays trying to
God.
act like a double intersection, and so mine would be like I'm gay, but I'm also a ginger.
We've been over
Hey,
this. You're pink. Just pink.
solidarity. For listeners, I just raised up my black fist in solidarity.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We love a
As a
ginger.
Thank you, thank you. As a pink person, like
I'm
I
also
don't
I am
think
also with
no.
a pink person, and it's okay. He's also pink.
Yeah,
He's a little bit on the peachier side of pink, but he's pink.
solidarity.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Transparency in
you.
the media is so important. So thank you for your candor.
Thank you. And transparency in the skin, you know.
The skin, yes.
Well, we
That's
said
that's
transparency, not translucency.
yes.
Yes,
That's
unfortunately.
peak vulnerability actually.
Thank you. If I really wanted to contour my cheeks, I'd have to go with a very dark color like chalk. You know, it's very difficult,
Yes.
you know, very
Absolutely.
difficult.
Eggshell would probably work best for you, Daryl.
Eggshell. Yes,
We
yes.
love an eggshell contour.
But listen, I would be curious to ask you, like, how, if you had to sum up, how would you describe your writing style? And maybe that would be
Oh,
different between like the comedy and the performance side of things versus like actual script writing. But how would you define your voice in writing?
Mm. It's changed so much. I think right now it's at a place. I mean, I love like absurdism. Like I love tackling stories with absurdity. Like that's the whole ornithomancy, like putting so much stock into like the birds and using that like determine using that to determine like how this person goes about like job interview and breakups and all that. But in general, like I think it's a bit of absurdist humor. And also I kind of like sort of extreme of consciousness dialogue. Like I love writing sort of free form, finding sort of the poetry within that free form writing and then attributing that to dialogue and monologues. Oh, and that's another thing I really love. I love a monologue. I love just having sort of speech be unpolished and unfeathered. Fettered. Oh God, my gay lisp. Unfettered. Yeah, and so and again, I love writing about death. I don't even know if I really love writing about it. I just can't stop. Like death and grief are just such a huge part of my writing that's sort of inseparable. And so, yeah, I mean, comedy is always the baseline, but yeah, I think comedy, religion, death, grief, absurdity,
I
extreme
don't think people
consciousness.
talk enough about like the interest in the macabre because I think it's way more
Hmm.
common than people want to admit. Like people have fucked up thoughts. People have fucked up thoughts about death, life, like nothing that they would probably ever vocalize to somebody else, but the thought will run across your fucking mind at some point, and no one
Absolutely.
wants to acknowledge that a little bit of curiosity about death on the other side is not unhealthy. If it becomes obsessive, then yes, like anything else, it would be bad, but it's I've been macabre my whole
Oh,
life, and
completely.
unlike when you talked about the meaty monologues like that, my immediately when I was thinking of like death macabre monologues, I was thinking of Eve's Bayou, like one of my favorite films ever, and like the monologues in that film, and
Yes. I love just a chunky monologue where people lose their couth by the end. It just feels so, so good. And so, yeah, that's my rating. That's my rating. Yeah, I'm working on a feature right now that kind of combines all of those things. So we shall see. We shall see.
I love it. When I think of monologues, and I know it's not a monologue, my mind goes to Legally Blonde, and I'm like, Mrs. Wyndham, when you arrived home, was your father at home? Courtroom scene ensues.
I mean, the monologue that's been on my heart for the past few years is the I'm your mother. Don't you understand? All I do is worry and slave and protect you, like the hereditary monologue. Uh,
oh right, that one.
so fucking good. Uh,
The one that I always go back to, my go-to monologue, and I hope someday I get to spew this at somebody for some reason, is Betty Davis from Of Human Bondage,
Oh,
where he
mm,
one of the characters, like the lead character, is talking to Betty's character, who's her name is Mildred, and he's like, Mildred, you disgust me, and she just launches into me? I disgust you. You're too fine. You will have none of me, but you sit here all night looking at your naked females. You cad, you dirty swine. She just keeps going and
I just
going. It's
people
fantastic.
crave monologues. I feel like monologues are sort of becoming a dying thing when it comes to scripts and movies and everything. But monologues are so iconic. When people are just like unleashing everything, you remember that. So,
Mommy Dearest
mm,
is full
Mommy
of it, full of
Dearest,
it.
Steel
Yeah.
Magnolias, like
Oh,
the Sally
absolutely. I'm fine.
Fields.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I can jog all the way to
Yes.
Texas and back, but my daughter can't. She never
It
could
should have
have
been me
gone.
first.
I
Oh God,
wonder
it's so
I just
why.
good.
want to hit something until it feels as
Hit
bad
it
as I
hard.
do. Here, hit
Hit
this.
this. Which,
So good.
to be fair, we have already decided on this. Like, Tim is very much the Olympia Dukakis. I am very much the Shirley MacLaine.
Love.
Oh, my goodness.
Love. I'll be Sally Fields because I'm short.
Gorgeous. You know what? Who? What's the Alyssa Edwards quote? Who would be the three? Who would we cast in our rendition of a Steel Magnolias? Like, who do you want to see there?
Oh God. I think we need to get Viola in the mix. I think we need to get Viola in the mix. Viola Davis. And oof. God. Oh, this is too hard. Wait.
I think Octavia Spencer could really do a lot with the Sally Field character, the mom. What was her name? Malin.
Oh,
I
I'm
think that she
forgetting.
could do a lot with Malin.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. And then maybe again a Toni Collette moment.
You
I
know,
have nothing but the highest. I want to be her manager.
Oh God, imagine her playing the Daryl Hannah role. Annelle, was that her name?
I think so.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
think it's
so
Annelle.
long.
Yeah, imagine Toni Collette playing that character.
isn't that a little sweet? I know. I cut it with a cut it with some sugar ice cream to cut the
Oh
sweetness.
no, that's the Dolly Parton character.
No, I
Annelle was
know.
the
Anel was
oh
the
right, yeah,
Christian
yeah.
because she was like, "Isn't that a little sweet?" Yeah, exactly.
hmm
No, that's perfect.
Well,
And
we're on to something.
we're onto something here. And I love that we get to talk about this because I think it's a bit of a given, but like as a performer yourself, like you're quite the movie fan, aren't you? Like you're quite you love a
My
film.
my AMC A list is calling to me as we speak. And like my AMC A list is like the Green Goblin suit. It like speaks to me and it's like you want to go see a movie in IMAX, don't you? Like I love film so much. I feel like it's just everything. Like I really
Well,
love film.
I too am a cinephile, and I've tried very, very hard to to introduce James to my wacky, wild variety of films spans everything from major blockbusters that everybody loves to weird little art films that nobody's ever seen. And
Same.
I try to introduce James to some of the more esoteric stuff that I like, and it has varying degrees of success.
listen,
Mm.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. What I enjoy in anything artistic is talent and quality. And if those aren't there, then darling, I generally don't go for it.
So are you one of those people where if a movie is bad but fun, you're like, no, this is bad, like as a cumulative experience, like there's no fun to be
Yeah,
had?
you don't even like
Yeah.
so bad they're good.
Well, now that's not necessarily true, right? Because you showed me The Devils from
Oh,
1979,
right.
and
Yeah.
like that was so camp and ridiculous. The moment Vanessa Redgrave came out with "The Devil Tempts with sensuous delights," I immediately was like, "Oh my god, this is
Sold.
insane! They're on crack
It is a very
cocaine
bizarre
doing
movie.
this.
It's a very bizarre movie.
I've not seen it. I need to see this.
It's
It's
actually banned.
wild."
You have to get it from the Internet Archive
Oh,
because no online streaming service will host it because it involves. Okay, so it's a very 1970s movie. I'll just put that out there. It's a
mhm.
very 1970s movie, and it's got a
So
lot of
it's got the
nudity.
RuPaul season one filter.
Well, it's got a lot of
There's
nudity, and it's got a scene
nudity,
where like there's
sexuality.
a nun orgy.
That's why it's banned? That's
Yeah,
so
because there's an
fun.
orgy of nuns. Yeah.
That's so fun. Okay, well, we're gonna
Girl, it
find
was
So
this.
but you
so
can find it on the
so
Internet Archive. Also, I would also watch Caligula because that one's also fucked up.
Okay, okay. I got my homework. But yeah, I fucking love movies. I love movies. I want to see like big black gay folks represented in movies so badly, and I think that's why I've wanted to be a filmmaker. And I think specifically I want to make movies where we're in these roles and like desirable. Like I feel like so often people who look like me or just big people in general in film, like big gay men in film are often punchlines rather than like desirable, like objects of desire. I so rarely see that. Have so rarely seen like a sex scene that involves like a big gay man. And I think that's important, and I want to see more of that. So, yeah, I love film. I love hyperimposing myself onto film. I think that's why I've ended up in this place in my life where I'm trying to create because it's like I spent so much time like putting myself in the shoes of people who look nothing like me but have those commanding roles. And yeah, it's just I wanna see myself and people who look like me being desired in 35 millimeter. That is like the dream.
That's fabulous. I do want to ask, does heartbreak feel good in a place like this?
Oh my God, heartbreak feels so good in places like this. I was in, because in LA, people clap for that. People clap when that ad comes on. I was just in Seattle at an AMC watching Superman. So good, by the way. That ad came on, and I was expecting claps. It was so dead silent. I was like, oh, I'm in enemy territory. I need to go. I need to go back to LA.
Well, in the Bible it does say, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because he is with me everywhere I go. You need
hmm
to make sure you go to the places where you are with people of kin spirit.
Absolutely. I stood up in that theater and I was like, you will clap for my mother. And I ripped off my shirt and I was wearing like the pinstripe suit she wears in that ad. And I threw on my wig and I was good to go.
And it was fantastic. And listen, I do
Thank
love
you.
me some Nicole Kidman, but I love that you mentioned Toni Collette. And it amazes me that she is to this day not like registered superstar territory. Because I'm like, no, but she is the standard, in my opinion, of
She
like
is
what
the
could be brought.
standard. She
But it's
always,
so rare to find someone that disappears into a character like that. Like I've only ever
Yeah.
seen like her and Kathy Bates do that.
Mm.
yeah, she's like, she's booked, but I feel like she's not getting like the roles that are giving, she needs like big, commanding roles where we're like, oh, give her awards because I want to
Mm.
shower her with
I'd really
awards.
like to see Monique come back to Hollywood. I know that she had like
Oh
that
my
falling out and
God.
everything, and that was a bit dramatic,
Yes.
whatever. I don't even know the true nuance of that situation, but
It's complicated. I would
um
love to see that as well, though.
yeah, I was so happy for her when she won for Precious, and then I thought this is finally going to be her ticket into like the roles that I think she could do really well with, and then she disappeared. So
Yeah.
like I'd love to see her come
No,
back.
I love it too. Like I have always loved stand up and I've always wanted to do it. And like growing up, like my mom would like throw on stand up for us. And like Monique was such a big inspiration for me. It was like Monique, Richard Pryor, Luann. It was just like so huge for me. So I love Monique so much. It'd be so nice to see that come back.
Well, you're not just a fan of Monique. You are a fan of James Baldwin, because I believe you
Yes.
have a James Baldwin tattoo. Is that right?
I do. I do need to get it touched up. Very, it's so hard to see here, but yeah, it's like on my shoulder. Yeah, it's my first tattoo ever. I love James Baldwin so much, and I've like he was like the first figure in my life, like as a young guy, where I was just like, whoa, this is like a little bit of me. Like this is, a black gay writer, and Giovanni's Room, and just like Sonny's Blues. Like it really changed my life and it made me just want to be that. It made me want to be like a writer who gets to write specifically about the Black gay experience. And God, like I really love him so much. And it's funny because my brother, we have different fathers. His last name is Baldwin. And so I was always like a little bit like jealous, like, God damn it, you got to have Baldwin as your last name. But, for everybody listening, for all you know, the Honey Bear is my last name. So yeah.
And I am curious about something else because you're representing yellow today, and people may or may not be able to see that in the little video clip that we do. But you're quite fond of the color yellow. Why, pray tell, is yellow your color of choice?
I love yellow so much. I mean, growing up, I'm a dark skinned guy. My mom was like, "You do not need to be wearing dark colors." Like, as a dark skinned person, why would you not wear bright yellow and orange and red and all that? And so, yeah, I gravitated towards these colors, and I think it's just sort of noticed that whenever I wore yellow, people would like specifically comment on it, and they'd be like, "Wow, that looks really good on your skin. Like, you look like really bright. Like, you look." Like this or that. And so I always felt very confident in the color yellow because I felt like seen. And again, growing up as a little church kid, Jehovah's Witness kid, being seen rarely felt tangible in my life and my existence. And so whenever I wore yellow, I had to get this reaction, and I was like, whoa, people literally see me. And I don't know, yellow is just a color of joy. And I want people to leave interactions with me feeling lighter. And so yeah, I gravitated towards yellow a lot. And then after the Bear LA competition, because I came out in this full look for the bar wear portion where it was like head to toe monochromatic yellow. We're talking yellow do-rag. I had this sort of custom yellow sleeveless blazer, yellow like latex shorts. I had yellow socks, yellow Doc Martens. I had a yellow Telfar bag. I literally like walked out purse first into the room, just all yellow. And that's sort of like where the honey bear was kind of born, I feel like. I think that was like me sort of like committing to it. And yeah, it feels like the color of joy. And that's what I want to exude. And so yeah, I just love it. And I really don't own a lot of dark colors at all as a result. I had to do this photo shoot the other day where they were like, the theme is black. Can you like wear all black? And I was like, I actually can't. I don't have that much shit. Like everything is imbued with yellow or some sort of bright color. I'm sorry. It's my toxic trait.
Yeah, I love that you said that part of it was also like to stand out and to, make your presence known. Because I was going to ask, as a second generation Jamaican immigrant, do you feel that you're seeing any progress, with representation that's happening behind the camera lately?
I think so, but it's like the royal, I think so. Like the very general, I think so. Like I think right now the industry is in such a weird place where nothing's getting made so often. I think what I'm seeing more of is people making their own things. And then within that, we're seeing people who don't typically get platforms, which has been lovely. Yeah, like I think that we're starting to see it happen more and more and more. And like I love being Jamaican so much and I want to see more of the representation for sure. But yeah, I mean like there is like I think in general, like Hollywood industry, whatever you want to call it, I think it's just getting very guerrilla in the sense of like I think people are really starting to make their own shit because we really have to. And within that, meeting so many filmmakers in LA and following people, like I meet so many people who are, Caribbean, Jamaican, and immediately once we establish that, we bond so heavily. So yeah, I think long story longer. Generally, yes. But yeah, the industry is in a quirky place right now.
Yeah, quite a few industries are in a bit of a free fall, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a very weird time. I moved here to, again, pursue writing, acting, producing, and it's probably the worst time to try and be pursuing these things in LA. But I don't know. I feel I'm making so much of my own stuff right now, and I'm working it, you know. I think that's another reason why I love stand-up is because it's so hard generally to get things made in LA, everywhere, basically. And so stand-up is kind of my version of doing that, of like I write it, I perform it, and then it's made. It's out there. Like I've created something, it's in the world. I get the endorphins of creating a project just by performing. And so I think that's sort of what I want to take with me for everything I'm doing, like the podcast, just making content, like comedic content. Yeah, yeah, I think it's a very DIY time in my life right now.
Well, I love that you mentioned your podcast because, of course, you also co host your own show, Marquis and Eric Dream of Another Gay Podcast,
Yes.
which I know is relatively new to the podcasting game, but tell the listeners, what is the show about?
Yes, so Marquise and Eric Dream of Another Gay Podcast is all about two gay guys, me and my friend Eric Lefebvre. We talk about our sleepy dreams. We start off every episode like recounting a weird dream we had this past week. He goes over his dream, I go over my dream, and then we sort of like riff off of it. And then we get submitter dreams, like people submitting to the pod. We go over that. And we also have a segment where we justify any one of our behaviors under the guise of, oh, it's just our sign. Like, for example, like, oh, I'm so into pickpocketing right now. Oh, I'm a Pisces, so that's why. And we're just
I
like,
love that
oh,
shit. I love that shit. And I always do that to him. And he's always like, oh, yeah, not everything can be explained away by your star sign. I'm like, yes, it
and
can.
it's like, yes, it can. You can truly justify any behavior. So that's been such a fun segment of just like the other day, I was like, I love bald guys. As a Pisces, we love bald guys. And so, yeah, it's just really, yes, yeah, do the pose, show it
Oh, and
off.
we have all three water signs present now, don't we? Cancer,
Yes, that's
Scorpio,
right.
Pisces. Yeah,
That's right.
Oh, it's
And you know what they
very wet in
say?
here.
When you get 3 water signs in a
you get a big
room,
fucking mess.
get a big
It's
fucking
gonna be
mess.
a fucking shit show, tear fest. Yes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the podcast has been so amazing. I mean, we're still like less than 10 episodes in, but it's been great. It's been great. I mean, the common denominator between everyone is that we're gonna die and we dream. And so to be able to sort of talk about our dreams, hear other people's dreams, and it's been great. And like now I sort of go out and about to like gay clubs and shit, and people are like, "Oh my God, I have this really weird drink. Can I tell you?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like genuinely, like I love people just getting to like talk about their dreams because th- I feel like there's sort of like this like childish sort of aspect in a bad way that people attribute to like talking about your dreams with like actual sort of stock in it. I know there's a lot of people who like don't like talking about dreams, which is fine. But I don't know, getting to like talk about it in a dedicated way has been super fun. And so I love having a podcast. I love to yap. It's been great. That is why we're here. We love to yap, all of us.
And, on top of all of this, because of course, one cannot just be one thing, one is, of course, many things when they're as gorgeous as you. And you also model,
Okay.
my love. And because, listen, you've got it pinned right there at the top of your Instagram feed. You modeled the origami customs jockstrap for Equality Fashion Week last year. Baby,
Yes.
how did you get into this? Was it because of Mr. Bear LA? How did you get into it?
I had always sort of done because again, I just love fashion, and so I was always posting like amateur me posing, like really posing with like some outfit on my Instagram. And then, I got my manager for acting through Mr. Bear LA, and then that extended to modeling as well. And so, yeah, through that process, it's sort of like all coalesced, and now I'm able to do it all. And I think it's been just really cool how it's progressed. Like now I get to do I think through making these Instagram videos that are comedy, but I always sort of make sure to have a look in them because I just love fashion. It's been really cool because now brands reach out for like me to like model their stuff, or a lot of like gay clothing brands sort of reach out that are like friends of mine. And of course, it's like, oh, I can help you by modeling your clothes. Easy. Like I was gonna do that anyway. So yeah, I love modeling. It feels great to model as like a big boy because people just aren't expecting it. People aren't expecting us to like full on Naomi surf face pose. Yeah, like and also like I don't know, I feel like as a big guy, I still want to feel dainty, if that makes sense. Like I I'm a big guy, but I still want to feel like a dainty little flower. And when I'm modeling, that's like when I feel the daintiest. And so I don't know. I kind of just I love it. Like I'm
Oh no!
obsessed with
Oh
it.
no! Oh
Oh,
no!
I'm just
Oh
so
no!
so soft and supple and dainty,
Demure! Oh
So
no!
demure. Oh my God.
Ooh. Well, to that point, Marquise, we need to ask you something really important here.
I'm scared.
Yeah, did you know?
Ah! Yes!
I'm not wearing any pants.
Oh, right.
That's
Well,
fair. That's fair. For the listeners, I mean James just did an iconic series of poses. Amazing.
popularized by the Marquis the Honey Bear. Could you think about that for a second?
I'll be thinking about that for many seconds. Many seconds.
Several many seconds.
Amazing. You ate that.
No, but it's a fun little meme. And like I say, when I reference like I see you on my FYP, it's usually that meme, right? Like,
Hmm.
did you know that gay people pose? Now think about that for a second. Like, I think that ultimately sums up like you, the person, because it is camp, it's gorgeous, it's fun, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and yet you're always rocking a fucking gorgeous look. Like it's always you, like, and I think of you in like the high waisted pant with the little coat, like
Hmm.
stunning, gorgeous. Like
Thank you.
when you think about And I guess let's bring it back to like bareness as a more broad concept. Like, do you feel like as time goes on, you're seeing more bears taking camp opportunities, or are we still seeing people kind of stuck in the humdrum of like, I'm a hyper masculine hairy dick pig with a septum?
Oh, I definitely think people are actually taking much more risks now and expanding their expression for sure. Like, I think there was such a huge like sort of meme of like, oh, you're a bear, so you're wearing cargo shorts and a Zelda shirt. You know, like, but I don't think that's really the case anymore. For example, I went with my friend to this like bear picnic and we were playing a game. We were like, okay, how many cargo shorts are we gonna see? How many nasty pig hats are we gonna see? And then we got there and it was like, whoa. No, people are like in looks and like are in things that we're not expecting, and like the shorts are like cute and not cargo-y. No hate to cargo short wearing bears. I'll still fuck you all the same. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like people are taking more risk and everything. And I guess to your point about, the videos that I'm making, thank you. Like I feel like I never expected those videos to take off. I try so many things in comedy when it comes to posting videos. And it's like the videos that I put in a lot of like effort to and a lot of thought, those videos go nowhere. But then with this series of like, did you know? It's so first thought and stupid. And those are always the videos that like really work. And so it's been fun to do that one, especially and seeing other people like do it. And like, yeah, it's been really cool. I love it. It's brings me a lot of joy to just do that. Did you know? Something gay. Think about that for a second. I'm like running out of things, but we're gonna go with for it as long as we can. Yeah, it's been a good time, and I'm always surprised at how far it's been able to reach people. So yeah, it's been a good time.
Well, as we start to wrap this up, we've got a couple of questions left. This one is, it's kind of a fun throwaway question, but what food gives you life and what food brings you peace?
Mm, I'll say that for peace. Food that gives me life is any form of curry. I love curry in all forms. Jamaican curry, Japanese curry, Indian curry. I love curry so much. I always put curry powder in everything. Curry powder does not a curry make, but I can't not shake like the need to have that flavoring. Like something about it even now I'm getting like hyped up. Like I'm getting hot just thinking about how much I
That's with me and chili powder lately.
yes, I love curry so fucking much. And then the food that brings me peace is jerk chicken. Again, I'm Jamaican like that. I just every time I have jerk chicken, I feel genuinely so calm and I feel like I'm connected to like my family. It's the most like just I can recalibrate my entire day, my entire week, how I'm feeling, my emotions by just having like good jerk chicken. Whenever I make jerk chicken, the ritual of it puts me at ease. I feel like an adult when I make jerk chicken, if that makes sense. I don't know. It just feels like such a like it feels like beautiful. Like I think this is just such a staple of being Jamaican, and every time I have it, I feel more Jamaican, and that puts me at peace. And so I love jerk chicken so much.
After this, I'm going to have to make a meatloaf, so I understand that, like in like what in the poor people tradition, I need to make something that was a
Fair.
staple of my childhood. But
Well,
so we've talked around like everything that you've done. You've got a pretty extensive career, and with everything that you have done, from writing plays to producing films to modeling to your podcast, what's next for you?
So what's next? My short film, Ornithomancy, is coming out next year. Really proud of it. Cannot wait for it to drop. Doing more stand-up. My podcast, Marquis and Eric Dream of Another Gay Podcast, is my baby that I really care about. That's my biggest next thing I'm working on. And I'm working on a little project comedy series that I cannot say more about, but a fun web series that shall soon be born.
babe, that's so exciting. It has been
Thank
such a
you.
fucking pleasure to talk to you today. to go through, honestly, the fucking the comedic scroll of like the dude who shows up at the king's throne and then it throws the scroll and it just like runs all the way out the door. Like this was a hoot, and you're such a fucking delight. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. My cheeks genuinely hurt from like smiling, genuinely. So thank you so much.
This was a pleasure. Now, where can listeners find you online?
Yes, so they can find me. I am on TikTok at Marquis Honey. I am on Instagram at Marquis Honey Bear. I'm on BluSky at just Marquis, which I'm so proud of to get Marquis as just the full thingy. And I'm also on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. You don't really need to find me on there. I'm phasing myself out. Just Marquis Honey on there. And if you're in LA, I do stand up all around the city. So come watch a show. And Marquis and Eric Dream of Another Gay Podcast is now streaming everywhere. So go listen to that right after you listen to this. That's where you can find me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's a wrap for now here on Thicc Radio. Please remember to like and subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and leave us a good review, y'all. Now, listen, if you liked this episode, the podcast, our guest, or just us in general, please share it with your friends and encourage them to tune in. You can find me on Instagram and BluSky at stannnum.
And you can find me on Instagram at thiccymouse and Grommr at Orpheus. You can also look us up on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Thicc Radio or at our website at podpage.com/thickradio. If you want to become a financial supporter of the show, you can donate to our PayPal, and you can always write to us at thethickradio@gmail.com. So until next time, bye, Fats.
Bye, Fats.
Bye, Fats.
Let's talk about it.
Thicc Radio is a Spotify podcast.
Artwork, media design, editing, and production by James Heinsohn.
With original theme music by CYMK.